Okay, our first panel discussion for today. It's all about, as you can see, new platforms and hardware evolution, the emergence of mobility and low-cost devices. And therefore, we wanted to have three guys on the panel. Unfortunately, we only have two, so I'm going to join them. First of all, it's Jean Varadi from Qualcomm. I hope I'm going to pronounce it in the right way, Jean. So, just take a seat over here. And we have Jae Su of Samsung. And yeah, let's have a chat about how Qualcomm and Samsung are seeing the markets in the future, where they're coming from, and what their outlook for 2010 is. And I would love to start with Jean. Jean, you guys are announced in the last couple of months, or let's say through all of 2009, the new SmartBook platform, and we just met 3 weeks ago during your press event in London, where you've been showing the Snapdragon platform to a wider audience. So could you maybe give our audience a little introduction to Snapdragon and what Qualcomm is aiming for in the future?
Yeah, very good. So before we go deep into the Snapdragon thing, just a bit of background on Qualcomm. I don't know how many of you are familiar with Qualcomm. Qualcomm is a semiconductor company. So we are doing chipsets, we are designing chipsets. We are manufacturing those chipsets through some partners, but we are basically a fabless company and doing some chipsets. To give you a few numbers, we are within about 360 million phones this year. So out of about 1.1 billion phones that will be shipped in 2009, we are the processor and the modem of about 360 million phones. So that means, and in terms of number of models, our customers are people like Samsung, LG, HTC, many of them, to a point that there is 2 new models every day based on Qualcomm chipsets worldwide. And at about, if you do 360 million, that's about 1 million per day of 2 new models. So again, we are I would say a significant player into the mobile industry. Now, before again going to the Snapdragon, a bit of background on where we have gone through in the last few years. Phones were basically making phone calls 4 or 5 years ago, but as you noticed, phones are becoming smarter and smarter. They are smart enough now to browse the web. They are smart enough now to replace your navigation tool. They are smart enough now to replace your gaming console, for example. They are smart enough to do many new things, but just phone calls. And they are smart enough now to some point, create new kind of category of device, which we call the SmartBook, but forget the name. In the earlier presentation, people from Sugar said, what's a Netbook? Today, a Netbook is pretty much a low-end, low-cost laptop, and it's used as a laptop, as a low-end laptop. Our vision is, again, coming from the phones and smartphone segment, is that we have enough now capabilities in our platform. We have enough CPU, we have enough multimedia strengths in the platform that we can enable new product which will be like your smartphone, always on, always connected to the network, but with a much bigger form factor. And for us, we call this kind of device SmartBook. Again, the name is, is not important at all. What is important is that the usage will be very different than what you can experience today on the Netbook. So you may want to think a little bit about that. It's not an easy, I would say, easier experience, because this is something that you are not used to it today. We have been very vocal about this SmartBook thing for the last, I would say, 12 months now. The reason, because we know that a lot of software companies, a lot of services companies have to take these new capabilities and make use of it. So, plenty of things. Let's take an example. Today, when you want to check your email on a Netbook, what do? You turn on your Netbook, You wait until you know the boot is done, then you find a wireless network or a 3G network, then you go into your mailbox, you check if you have email. Well, basically it takes about 5-10 minutes. With a SmartBook, well, it's very much like your BlackBerry, you know. Your device was always on, always connected, so your email have been coming into a kind of push mode. Okay, so again, the experience is in both cases you can check your email, but the experience will be very different. Another example, you want to check your Facebook thing. Some people are checking their Facebook thing every 10 minutes. You know, some people are really addicted. And most of the time, you know, there is no change. Think about the other way around, you know. Now, information will come to you when there is something which has changed on your you know, friends' informations. Again, with a SmartBook, with the always on, always connected thing, information will come to you when it's relevant. It's not you will go and check your information once in a while. It's the relevant information will come to you whenever it's, you know, it makes sense. So again, why a chipset company is telling you that is because we have developed this technology again based on all the evolutions on the phone industry. Now we are able to provide platform which will make product which will have like a 1 day or 2 days battery life. So you will no more carry your charger. You will no more think about, you know, switching off your device. No, it's like your smartphone, it will be always on. You will have all the multimedia capabilities that you can think about, and again, all now the services have to come, and I'm sure that a lot of smart people will make use of that. That's a brief introduction.
Sounds good. So by the way, you know, due to the fact that this is a panel discussion, whenever you have any question, please step in, you know, just raise your hand if you want to ask something, so we get some interaction going on. Oh, I just said it, right?
All right, just one short one.
Yeah.
So the name used to be SmartBook. What is it now? Or what's it gonna be?
That's a good one, Roland.
I know.
Okay, a few things on the names. The Netbook name is very generic. This name, Netbook, has been used for many different things. And we wanted to come and do all this speech with a different name, just so that the people understand that we're talking about something different. When you think about names, you know, we said, you know, we are talking about devices which are similar in some ways from the Netbook form factor, but with a mobile usage, with a smartphone usage. So what about, you know, combining something between smartphone, Netbook, something which looks like, you know, SmartBook? Yeah, that's smart. You know, let's take the SmartBook. So we didn't copyright the name. We think it's, you know, SmartBook is
It's a generic expression.
It's a generic expression. Now some German companies think it's not. and again, so again, we are not willing to protect the name. The question is not about the name. We think SmartBook is a generic name. Now, some people think it's not. We will need to figure out how to solve this. Again, what is important is not the name. The important is really the usage and how different this product will be from the current Netbook. I know that some, you know, journalists have been affected by this issue. We are very sorry about that. But again, this is not the this is not the central point. We don't want to make this a big story of that. But if you come with a better name, please let us know.
So you don't have one yet? Not yet.
Again, you know, the industry will find a name. Maybe an OEM will find a new name. So the experience is more important than the name.
But the name can give an indication of the size, the form factor. Because the question we can ask, we wonder is, what's the next step of the Netbook device? Will it be something like everybody is waiting for the next internet tablet of Apple, something, you know, one body, or will it be something else? So the name is quite important. We cannot say just it doesn't matter.
Agree. The name is important. That's why we thought we had a good name.
for you.
But again, we are not. Again, we are the technology provider. We are not the OEM. Maybe an OEM will find a better name that will make the road for this new kind of devices. But
you as Qualcomm, are you becoming with that kind of device the Netbook, because you are producing one of the most powerful chipset for the phone, for Toshiba TG1?
Yes, correct.
TG1 and for the HD2?
HD2, correct. Yeah.
HTC. So with that power, you could come in the field of the Netbook.
Absolutely,
It's already the case.
It's already the case. Absolutely, there is some minor differences in terms of memory support, etc. But it's basically the same technology that you find today in the high-end smartphone, like the Toshiba, like the HTC HD2, like the Acer Liquid, or all these devices are using actually the same chipset that the one that you will find in some smartbook. Next year.
How do you see the future as for the form factor?
So the smart book, basically there are two ways of thinking. Some people are thinking that the smart book will have a similar form factor than the current netbook, because some people say the people need to be familiar with an existing form factor. Other people are saying that if you want to give a different usage, a different promise, you have to be disruptive and go for a new form factor. So some people are going for the tablet form factor, like the 7, 8, 9 inches tablet form factor. So I think in 2010, next year, we'll see those two kind of devices coming to the market. There will be one device from Lenovo, which was announced a few weeks ago, and I think the device will be public at CES in January, and will be pushed by AT&T. Early next year.
So let me also introduce our second guest on this panel. It's Jerry Su from Samsung. Jerry, Samsung was quite successful in the last 12 months. You kind of came out of nowhere, well, not out of nowhere as a company, of course, but out of nowhere for the netbook market. And you've been quite successful with this one little device that I'm also using for almost a year now, the Samsung NC10. Tell us a little bit about the strategy of Samsung, or what happened to you guys in the last 12 months, and how you're going to see the market, and maybe you want to give us a brief introduction of you first.
Hi everybody, so I'm Jéhu, and I'm working as a product manager for netbook devices in Samsung for France. So I may have maybe a deeper insight of what's going on in the French market, a little bit less experience or knowledge of what is going on worldwide, but I believe that the French market is somehow very representative of what's going on in the world. So I'll try to answer your questions the best way. As you said, our NC10 was the first netbook devices that we proposed in the market. It was in November last year, November 2008. And in 2009, we will sell a little bit less than 200,000 units in France, which according to GfK would be the most sold device, all laptop category included. So it's a great success. And at that time, actually I just introduced the netbook market with the 7-inch devices early 2008. We actually came a little bit later in the market because we wanted to take the reflection of what should be the netbook device before entering the market, and this is why we arrived only in November. But I think we did the right thing because the product was very successful. And netbook devices actually taken very seriously within Samsung, because as you mentioned before, we were almost non-existing in the laptop market because we've been in this market now since 2002-3 in France, a little bit before even, but we never had the opportunity to emerge in this market. And with netbook and its growth, it was a real opportunity for Samsung to take a great position in this market. And this is why we actually thought a lot about how should this device be. So at that time, I think we identified the success of NC10 based on many factors: the usability, the size of the keyboard, the battery life. We were the first to introduce a real long battery life, providing more than 7 to 8 hours of battery life. So small things like that were studied actually before, and this is why we could introduce such a nice product. And if I can introduce a little bit Samsung and say something interesting that you don't already know about Samsung, except maybe the fact that we are also having insurance companies in Korea or banking, or it's such a big group that within this group we are also producing semiconductors and components, IT components. So for Samsung it's very, I can say easy or natural to make this kind of finished devices. In 2006, maybe some of you remembered, we were the first one to introduce the origami concept, which was the Q1 product. Intel and Microsoft were thinking about some kind of devices, and we were 6 months before anyone, the one that would concretely make a hardware of this idea concept. So the industrial power and the capability of Samsung to develop new technology and make it finished good is a real strength that we have. So we are very happy with the success of NC10. We have been also introducing now more than 7 to 8 netbook models, which shows actually the real, let's say, will from Samsung to penetrate this market and to take a good place. So based on the success of the NC10, this has conditioned a lot our strategy for next year and for the years to come. As I said before, battery life and the user experience was pretty much a real important stuff. So we are taking the ingredients that made the success of the NC10 in order to develop new products. Battery life, size of the keyboard, non-gloss LCD panel, if I speak a little bit technical, are key factors that we are going to introduce in the market and generalize in our lineup. Then we also think that Netbook is maybe the first real computer device that is personal, actually, that we are taking anywhere with us, either at home or outside. And people like to show their notebook and make it representative of their own personality as well. So this is why we provided, for example, 5 different colors on the NC10 model. And this is an approach that we are going to push, is to be able to, let's say, diversify the design of our hardware platforms in order to make it, to touch a large public, customers, and so that they can find within Samsung the product that looks like them, actually. Then the second evolution, because as I mentioned before the panel, it's for me the let's say, if we focus on the netbook, it's a very interesting subject, but it's also very funny for me to talk about netbook hardware evolutions, because I think we all know in this room that netbook segment is submitted to some constraints. We are not able to do what we want to do in terms of let's say component inside. So it's very interesting to identify what is the identity of the netbook, but we also have to know that the possibilities are not illimited, which is maybe not a bad thing, because it has enabled a product like NC10 to be living more than 1 year, which is quite incredible for a laptop computer in the market. And I think so. The idea here for Samsung is work on the design of the product and make it as successful as the NC10 in terms of ingredients to approach next year's market. And as I mentioned before, the specification will be very limited. We believe that we have to work on other subjects than the hardware itself. We have to make it beautiful to look, we have to make it thinner, and we also have to integrate some kind of softwares that are fitting to what people are really doing with their network today. So features like being able to boot very fast in an interface that is providing internet access, multimedia access, and internet connection is something that we are integrating next year in our devices. We are also thinking of the netbook as a device that will enable people to communicate, or at least to, let's say, even go into their desktop PC at home to be able to manage some stuff. So synchronization or the technical convergence is something that is key for us next year. And also we are working with some partners to be able to provide different types of contents, music contents, video contents, magazine contents in our netbook. And this is where we are going to go next year. So in terms of hardware, take what was very good in the NC10 and try to think about how people are really using their netbook and to look for partnerships to provide a full experience of the netbook next year. This is our main strategy for next year.
Well, thank you again. As you have any questions on this, but I have some questions immediately. I think, I'm not sure if the analysts from IDC will agree with me, but we will have a speech from them this afternoon. But first of all, I think France and especially France and Germany are one of the most competitive netbook markets in the world, and especially Europe, the market looks quite different compared to the US and compared to China, which is mainly because we have a kind of different 3G connectivity over here. From my experience, Samsung was quite successful selling the NC10 and also the new version, the N130, N140 through the telco channels. Especially now with the rise of smartbooks, it's somehow kind of aiming at the same distribution channel. How do you see Samsung or the Netbook platform being competing against smartbooks that will offer always online, always connected to the internet, and even we're even talking about push email in the future. So how can you see from your personal perspective how netbooks are going to develop?
So actually we are we were the first constructor to be able to provide netbooks to the three main French operators. And I think we did the same story in other countries like Germany with Vodafone and other companies. The position that we are having in the mobile phone market and the relationship that we have been building so far with the operators gives us a real advantage to not only sell products to them as a distribution channel, but to co-work in advance on what is their ideal devices to be able to work hand in hand and to develop devices for them. So our current relationship with telco is not just providing products and help them to sell them. We are also thinking through focus groups and let's say frequent and regular meetings where they would like to go in terms of hardware, because we are able to make any kind of devices. So the debate between smartbook and netbook is not really relevant within Samsung, because if operators want to sell a smartbook, we will be able to support smartbook. Now, from my personal point of view, I don't really understand what would be actually the main difference between a smartbook and a netbook. Actually, it's as Jean mentioned before, we are talking about how to get to the internet and what we are doing today with the internet. And I believe one key component of the internet today is the keyboard and the screen sizes, because instant messaging and writing emails and everything, being able to comfortably and instantly being able to communicate by writing text is still key in the usage of the netbook today. So I don't know exactly the difference between smartbook, netbook, and everything, but I do believe that there is some kind of market movement between maybe a netbook that is today too much close to a laptop, and actually mobile phones that are not able to provide, let's say, enough comfort to be able to experience a fully internet. So there might be a compromise to find in within, but I personally do not know what kind of devices will be. But what is for sure, the connectivity, 3G access and everything is something that is key for this kind of very ultra mobile devices. So we are co-working with operators to find out what the best solution for them. So this is one thing, but now having an idea on concretely what kind of device it will be, I don't think I can guess it now.